Um, we don't really use rote memorization anymore. We don't use that technique. We use more group work. So students would work in groups, small groups, or in pairs. They'd be given an activity and then work together. That's more common, although it varies depending on the school and the teacher.
Professor, how about the community engagement? Here we do not have any community engagement at school level.
Mm-hmm.
We just see the models, specimens,
Right.
Or some kind of awareness. But genuinely, our children do not engage in the community. We do not attach with the community. So how do you see, Professor, in the context of India, a non-attachment with the community, and in the context of USA?
You mean who's not attached in the community? The teachers or the students?
Students. And then teachers.
You mean
teachers also?
Your adult students?
School students, even adult students,
Okay.
teachers, we have very less
Okay.
community engagement.
Okay. So the way schools are set up in America is a little different. We don't have a federal system like you. We have what's called local control. So every community has their own school and a school board. Can you hear me okay? You can hear? You can hear? Okay?
Yes.
Okay. So every community has a school, it's called a board of education. And those are usually parents from the community that have oversight of the schools. So there's a lot of community engagement. And a lot of parents are very involved in their schools.
Our parents never involved in our schooling. They are concerned about our education, our career, how do we place, what kind of work we will be doing future, our moral values, all those things they are concerned. But when it comes to parents, my mother or my father, they haven't visited my school any day.
Yeah.
So how, in the context of US, do parents part of the school?
Yes, they are, very much. Yeah. I mean, it's different because, if you're, I think it has to do with if you have your socioeconomic status. So if you're living, day to day, it's tough to be involved in other things if you just have to make sure that you're fed and you feed your family. Any questions back here? Over here?
Yes, sir.
1 second, okay? Let me see if anybody in the back there.
MA students.
Yeah.
If any question, just ask to sir.
Okay. No? Okay. Go ahead.
So my question is this: what way we can interact in the classroom? Classroom environment in India is like one-centered, teacher-centered. Sometimes it is a student-centered. This type of environment in American classroom.
It's very difficult when you have such a big class, right? You have 40 or 50 or 60 students.
Yes.
It's hard.
150 students.
150, right. It's very, very difficult. So classes in America are much smaller. I don't need it.
No, sir. Yeah.
Oh.
Online.
Okay. Yeah, but then I can't hear them. Okay. So classes in America are much smaller, so it's easier to do group activities than with a big class. Yeah, I think a big part of it is finding ways to have smaller classes. Anybody online have a question? Who do we have? Anyone else? Yes.
For myself, Chandra Kumar Singh, PhD research scholar. Sir, always Ashish has talked to you that in America and both you that there is a very personal space for children and parents. But in India, we nurturing and we don't space in our children. So, what is difference between, because you see in Indian cultures, what is difference between their parents and the child and Indian country? He says that if 1 year's child, he slept in on room,
Oh, okay.
but we are captured.
Right.
we
Right.
all time
Right.
push up,
Right.
and we all time cover
Right.
our children.
So, yeah, good question. It's a very different, so you were talking about the family, and the family is very different in America. So our families, so I'll give you an example of my family. So I live with my wife. My son, who's 26, lives far away. My daughter, who's 36, lives on the other side of the country. My mother lives by herself somewhere else. My father lives by himself somewhere else.
Yes.
If I have grandchildren, they're going to be somewhere else too with their parents. So the family is it's very typical when a child goes off to college, BA, they leave, and that's it. Bye-bye, mom and dad.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And mom and dad are home alone without their children. So it's a very, very different organization. And I think it's, I wouldn't say one is better. They're very different, and they each have strengths. Like part of me, I have a lot of sadness that I'm not closer to my family, that they're all spread so far apart. But I could also see that if I lived with my mother, I would go crazy. So that's some of the difference.
So,
Yes.
sir, my name is Rohan, and I'm working on issues of philosophy of melody, which they also belong from American philosopher and educationist. This family structure of America, I think, provoked to think about ethics of care and melodics, because she had 10 children and they lived together in America. Yet it's very rare in America, and she had only own 5 children and 5 adopted. Then she called her room environments care nest, house of care, nest of care. So then ethics of philosophy provoke him to live together and connected with each other. And her one thing I want to know. Which things of India like you most and attract you?
Like you told tomorrow, intellectual crush. So we are intellectual crush for you.
Okay.
Which things and what?
That is a very hard question because there's so much. The people, the food, the music, the history. You heard my story. I love history, archaeology. So the ancient civilization, like, America is a very young country. We don't have ancient monuments, ancient universities, right? So I love all that. I love how different it is. Like, I've only been in the north of India. I have never been in the south, and I really want to go, but I've always heard how every state is so unique and different.
So,
Yes.
my name is Devbrat Yadav. I'm a PhD student. So my question is, as we know that in America there is a number of private universities are there, and less number in the public universities. So is there any what is the main difference? Why they are only why they are yes, why there are so many private universities in comparatively public universities?
I'm not sure I know the answer to that. I would say, when the British came to America and took over, like they did here, they brought their system of education, particular their higher education. So some of the first universities were Harvard. Those were formed by the British settlers. I don't know exactly why. I think, I don't really know. One thing is we don't have a federal system like you do, so you have more public or government schools than we do. Yeah. Anybody in the back? Yes.
Good morning, sir. My name is Subrata, and I am working on technical and vocational education and training. This is a topic I'm working in my PhD under the guidance of Ashish Srivastava, sir. And sir, I really wanted to know, and I'm very interested to know that what kind of pre-vocational exposure is provided to children in the academia there, like in maybe preschool or primary classes, elementary classes. Is there any kind of a system working, or is there any formal, non-formal, any kind of pre-vocational or vocational exposure which is being given to the children there?
Good question. Not much. It's not really. It's not really part of the culture so much. There's play, and there's maybe crafts and art, but not so much thinking about career. In America, it's very much the aspiration of everybody to go to college. So that's sort of almost an expectation. So and it's also, and there's been this big push for people to go to college. So the number of Americans graduating class 12 and going to college is very high. But also there's a downside because some of them shouldn't be in college. They don't necessarily want to be in college, or they might be better off in vocational training. But there's a push for college. Let me see if there's anybody here. Anybody online with a question? Okay. Anyone else? I have a question.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So I hear a lot of people here looking up to America. I want to go to America. I want to go to school in America. What is it about America that's interesting to you? That if you feel that way, what is it?
Basically, that we have better job opportunity or the exposure of different culture, ethnicity, because maybe America has the highest population from outside of from different part of the world. So in that sense, there is a perception in our minds that if any time we will visit to America or to any foreign country like a European country or American country like America and Canada, we might get many more exposures. And also there are so many stories which we have heard, like from very early age, from around 60, parents parents allow their allow the friends to explore or to concentrate about a job or some like in India we don't focus on those things at a very early age, and we are very much surrounded by our parents for a very long period of time.
Right.
So these are the things which we want to see from our own periphery or our own dimensions and perspective, that how is it different from India and what we should inculcate in our system or in our values.
Mm-hmm.
Or is there anything which we can infer from there? Is there anything which we can contribute in any? So this is thing which we want to look at from any different part of the world, especially from Europe and American countries.
Got it. Thank you. I appreciate that answer. So let me just say, I have another question for you. This is a rhetorical question. You know what that word means, rhetorical? It means you don't really have to answer it. But the question is, if I as an American went to Kerala, and then I went back to America and said, I've been to India. I know all about India. I wouldn't really know India, right? I would know Kerala. If I went to Ladakh and then went back to America and said, I've been to India, I know all about India, that wouldn't be true, right? So it's the same thing with America. So New York is the melting pot and is very diverse. And it's so much fun walking down the street. Like I can walk down the street on a warm summer day and I can hear 10 languages. People, 10 different languages, all different looks and clothing. But if I go to Kansas or Iowa, everyone's going to look like me and speak like me. So America is like India, very different parts are different. So, and what you see on TV and the movies is like usually California or New York. But that's not only America. And there's parts of America that are very, very rural. So not a lot of people, a lot of land, open land. And then parts that are very crowded, like Delhi, crowded cities with a lot of people. So it is diverse. But I will tell you that I enjoy what you're saying about being around all these different cultures and different people. It's like you learn a lot when you're around other people. Just like I'm learning so much being here. And I think you learn when you interact with foreigners. Any other questions in the back there? Let me see if there's anyone in the back, people hiding in the back. I'm going to stare at them, make them nervous. You have a question, right? What's that? The sheep?
मैं सर एक क्वेश्चन करती हूँ कि अमेरिका के दृष्टि से वहाँ के जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम वहाँ के समावेशी शिक्षा से क्या वहाँ पे मतलब वहाँ पे एजुकेशन का किस प्रकार का
According to American perspective, how do they see inclusive education there?
Good question. So in America, we have a federal government, and there's federal laws that mandate inclusive education when a student has a disability. So it's very much a part of our public education system, and it's required that teachers learn about disabilities and teach students with disabilities in the right way. Could you, I know some people's English is not so good, could you say that you'll translate if people want to speak their own language?
अगर किसी का कोई प्रश्न है तो आप पूछ सकते हैं हिंदी में, तो हम ट्रांसलेट करेंगे सर को। जो कोई प्रश्न आपका, आपके मन में जो भी विचार है।
My question.
अमेरिका के बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर एजुकेशन सिस्टम और यहाँ के बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर उसमें क्या डिफरेंस?
Sir, he is saying what are the differences between the basic structure of education when we see in the context of America, when you see in the context of India? What is the basic structure of American education?
So I would say some of the key differences are smaller classes. The teacher has a very different relationship with the student than here. I know the teacher here is revered, respected up here, right? Yes, next to God.
Yes.
Not in America. Teacher's right here. Your friend, your buddy. So that's a big difference. And again, it's good and bad, right? I think one of the good things about that is students have an adult, a teacher that they can connect to personally. Because remember, the family is so different, right? So they may not have grandma and grandpa at home. So they can have a personal kind of relationship with the teacher, which is good. The bad thing is sometimes they're disrespectful. And sometimes they don't show the proper respect for the teacher, so it makes the teacher's job hard.
Let me share one experience of Kathmandu.
Oh, yes.
मैं काठमांडू गया था एक लेक्चर देने के लिए, सर ने बुलाया था, तो सारे स्टूडेंट्स आए बैठने। जब वो बैठे तो कोई कुर्सी पे पैर ऊपर रख के बैठा है, कोई सामने वाली कुर्सी के ऊपर पैर रख के बैठा है, कोई लेटा हुआ है।
So I was very uncomfortable. This was first experience of mine. Then सर आए उसके सर ने कहा कि ये cultural difference है. तो फिर धीरे-धीरे मैं हुआ. So I was sharing that experience when you invited me at Kathmandu. I was about to deliver my lecture, and the students, how they were sitting, their physical gesture.
Feet up in the air. Yes. And we talked with our students after that visit, and we talked about the difference in the culture, and they didn't know. And they didn't know they were being disrespectful. And it was interesting.
My question is the perspective of teacher education department, how to use blended learning framework in implementation of teacher education.
I missed part of it. I got something beeped. Can you say it again? Can you repeat it?
So he's saying how in the context of America they use blended learning in teacher education.
Okay.
In specific.
Okay, sure. So we didn't use it before 2020, right? And just like here, we were forced to figure out how to do it when the pandemic hit, and now it's very common. So many courses will meet face to face, and then there will be an online component, or we'll meet online, like in Zoom. So it's very common now. And actually, for my students are all postmasters, adults with families, so they prefer it because they have little children, they work all day, it's easier for them to just stay home and be on the computer than drive to school. Did I answer your question? Okay, last question.
Sir, we heard this thing that in America, the primary teachers are getting more salary than the higher secondary. Is it true?
No. In a typical school, a teacher will be certified, licensed to teach N through 6. And when you get the job, you get the same salary if you're N 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6.
And one more question: that all the schools are co-ed, or girls, boys schools are there also?
All mixed, all
All
co-ed.
co-ed.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This is the last one? You said that was the last one.
My question that we have a proper syllabus for every class. It's like the same in American university, we have certain guidelines, we have to follow all the guidelines in the syllabus.
You mean in higher ed or N through 12?
In school as well as the higher education. Board.
Yes, both. We have curriculum and syllabi all the way.
In India,
This is 2 questions.
in India, we have a certain subject in class 1 to 10, English, maths, science, social sciences, Hindi, or any other language we can't learn. In the same way, the student in school, America, they learn science, social science. These are the subjects.
Yes, all broken up. Yeah, all separate. Okay, gotta go. So nice to see you all. We're not gonna have time for photos because that takes an hour. And we have people waiting, so thank you.
You are also translator.
हेलो। दूसरे प्रोग्राम में अभी जो है कि कार्यक्रम में थोड़ी लेट है, इसलिए करके जो है कि जब स्टार्ट होगा तब जो है किया जाएगा। हो सकता है लिंक चेंज होगा तो मैं स्कूल ऑफ एजुकेशन में डाल दूंगा, तो उससे भी जुड़ सकते हैं। अभी जहाँ चेंज होगा तो वो डाल दिया जाएगा। थैंक यू।
Hello. team in early childhood education and care. Pragya Singh.
Sir? Yes, sir, I'm present.
Yeah, please turn on.
So shall I start with my presentation?
Yes, yes.
Sir, actually, I'm unable to. Sir, I'm unable to share my screen. Actually, the option of share the screen is disabled. Actually, I wanted to share my PPT. Can somebody from the technical team help me with that? Shall I share my PPT with the technical team and then maybe probably you will be able to share it? Sir?
Just wait 1 minute, please. Please send your PPT on email.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, I have sent right now. I don't know why I am not able to share it.
Just a moment.
Yes, sir, I am now able to share, sir.
Okay, okay.
Sir, is my PPT visible?
Yes.
Okay. A very good morning, everyone. I am Pragya, PhD research scholar from Department of Education case, the Maharaja Sayaji Rao University of Baroda. The paper I'll be presenting today is titled Relevance of STEAM in Early Childhood Education and Care, Early Years Educators' Perspective. As all of us know that the early year education is really important as it is the most significant time when it comes to the development and learning. We all know that this is the most critical time of the development in the child's growth, and this is also the time when the personal habits and the social behavior is taking shape. And as known to all of us that there are certain indigenous methods which all the societies have to pass on their culture and traditions to future generation. When it comes to India, if I contextualize with the reference to our culture, that we have this emphasis on inculcating sanskar, that is the basic values, the social skills in children, and it starts very early on. And in the past, this was delivered primarily within joint families through traditional child caring practices, which were commonly shared. Now, as it is aware, as all of us are aware now, that the structural context has changed, the societal context has changed. So, due to the presence of nuclear families, the changing in the social and economic structure of India has intensified the need for the universal early childhood education. We have enough research evidence in the field of education and the neurosciences which claims that these are the critical period wherein the formation of synaptic connections in the brain develops. So for the language learning, for the conceptual learning, this is a very, very important phase. And it is very rightly so then emphasized in National Education Policy 2020 that there must be a provision for universalization of quality. A very key term here is the quality of early childhood development, care, and education. And there were various studies which led to this provision in NEP. Two very important ones are IECEI study, impact study conducted by Ambedkar University in 2017, which says that the coverage of the preschool programs in India is extremely narrow, and the quality of service provided is variable, and largely poor. Now, they also suggested that neither Anganwadi centers, non-pre-primary classes in private schools provided children with the opportunity they need to develop sound foundation. Sir, am I audible? Sir?
Yes, please. You are audible.
Okay.
But finish within 4 minutes, please. We have limited time. Yeah.
Now, we have all discussed the concept of STEM and STEAM yesterday by the various presenters and also by the resource persons. So I'll now jump to how the STEAM is relevant in the early years. There are few very important documents, policy documents, wherein it is stated like Early Learning STEM Australia, STEM Smart Brief, National Research Council, where it is suggested that as the earliest espouser of the technological development, now our preschool children have the essential skills and knowledge and the processes so that we can integrate this STEAM in early childhood education. Now, this is just infographics wherein whatever has to be stressed during these formative years is depicted, like teamwork and collaboration, logical thinking, arts, craft, and music. Now, when we see ECCE and also the STEAM education with the review of related literature and also the policy documents of India like preschool curriculum developed by NCRT and the Vidya Pravesh document, I was able to identify certain overlapping concepts like which are relevant to both the fields, like the concept of whether when the child is asked to is given an opportunity to explore the thing, to raise questions about the objects, to develop important competencies and skills. So these are the overlapping concepts wherein child develop the early mathematical competencies like subitizing, like predicting, like observing, and both of these concepts also have the play-based pedagogy. And a very important aspect of both of them is communication. Now, as we know, in early years, we are stressing upon the language development of the children. If the child is able to express in the social context also, or is able to share the things. Now, these are also the underlying principles of STEAM education as well. Now, I'll be just briefing this science and technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics, how it is relevant in early education. We all know that the children are the born scientists, they are the born engineers. If you give the child an egg to play with, then if he drops it, that would be his first experiment in biology as well in physics. When they put their hands, soapy hands, and the foam is formed, that would be just one of their development of the skills of observation. Ki whenever I touch this particular objects and put my hand under the water, so and especially the mathematics, when it comes, when the children start identifying that this particular block is larger than this particular block, then these are the concepts. I'm not if people get intimidated when we talk about STEAM in early education, but we have to contextualize in terms of the early education. And where does the rationale of this paper comes from is that whenever we have to apply any new pedagogical approach to the classroom, then the teachers believe, the teachers perception, the teachers awareness about that particular approach greatly impacts their educational practices. And STEAM is often intimating to the teachers and as well as to the parents, and more so in early years. Now, but there are enough research evidences which suggest that early childhood environments are rich in opportunities for children to be involved in the STEM education. However, for all the children to have access to high quality, the same term as being used in high quality STEM experience in a school, their teachers need to be well prepared in both content and pedagogy to lead high quality STEAM and STEM experiences. So with this view, before I was to implement a STEAM based approach into the early year classrooms, I decided let us find out the perception of the early childhood educators about the STEAM education, and do they feel this particular pedagogical approach is relevant in their classroom. So for the current study, I initially started with a questionnaire, but the data I gathered from that is not enough to come to any conclusion. Then I switched to a wherein I gathered the data over telephonic conversation, wherein the prior permission from these candidates was taken. The many of the findings suggest that there were the participants who are all of these participants who had 5 years of teaching experience in early years classroom, and some had as many as 15 years experience. Now, many of these participants were not aware about the STEM education, while few of them knew, and those who knew, there were few who understood the STEM education. Out of the 17 candidates I interviewed, only one of the candidates in foundational years is inculcated in their curriculum. It is not very prevalent in India, but in countries like Finland, we have the research at the US, China, we have the evidences are quite successful at giving the objectives are being defined. One of the candidates in my study that it is offered at the school. The same candidate do also agree that the basic a lot of enough for the learning experience around the step. All the participants were aware about the situation in places, but they had no idea about there is a concept called STEAM, that is integrating arts, which is a very important concept when it comes to the early childhood education. The educators agreed that there was enough time for arts, crafts, and activities.
Pragya, thank you. Thank you. Time is over now. Next one, Dr.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Jyoti Verma.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am here, sir.
Please. No, yes, ma'am. Please start.
Sir, is my screen is visible, sir?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much, respected chairperson of the session, respected co-chairperson of the session, organizing team, are the presenter present here. Myself, Dr. Jyoti Verma, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh, and my paper, title of my paper is Reimagining STEAM Education, a Reflection, which is jointly prepared by myself and my senior colleagues, Dr. Samvit Kumar Padhi. My paper is totally based on the literature review, and on the basis of it, what I found here, I will present my thoughts, what I understand about the STEAM education. The aim of my paper is to say about what is the current status of STEAM education in India, what are the myths about STEAM education, what are the different challenges, and some government schemes which are running in India. I will want to share with you, and some suggestion also I want to discuss with the participants. And I would like to present my presentation in bilingual so that each and everyone can understand what I want to say. ओके सो जैसा कि हम जानते हैं कि जो हमारा 4 पिलर ऑफ इकोनॉमी है उसमें साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, इंजीनियरिंग और मैथमेटिक्स का क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है। इसके बिना हम कोई भी जो हमारा इकोनॉमी का जो कंपोनेंट है उसको अचीव नहीं कर सकते जब तक हम इन चारों कंपोनेंट को अच्छी तरीके से हम कवर नहीं करेंगे। इससे पहले कल से जो सेमिनार है इस पे बात हो रही है कि स्टीम क्या है, तो उसको मैं बात नहीं करती हूँ। स्टीम के थ्रू हम क्या करना चाहते हैं उस एस्पेक्ट पे मैं बात करना चाहूंगी। जैसा कि जो करंट ट्रेंड है स्टीम एजुकेशन का कि बिटवीन द 2017 टू 2027 जो स्टीम एम्प्लॉयमेंट जो है वो डबल हो जाएगा। और जिस तरीके से जो हमारी जो फास्ट ग्रोइंग कंपनीज इंडिया है उनमें से 20 में से 15 कंपनी जो है आने वाले समय में केवल उन्हीं लोगों को एम्प्लॉयमेंट देंगी जो कि मैथ और साइंटिफिक स्किल्स में कॉम्पिटेंट हैं। ठीक है, इसी तरीके से ये है कि जो करंट ट्रेंड है, जो स्टूडेंट जो चाहते हैं पढ़ना लिखना, जिस पे काम करना चाहते हैं, वो है मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग जो है सबसे ज्यादा पॉपुलर है। और इसके बाद बायोलॉजिकल साइंसेस है जो स्टूडेंट इस पे पढ़ना चाहते हैं स्टीम प्रोफेशन के थ्रू, इसमें वो जाना चाहते हैं। ये इंडिया का ट्रेंड है। हम सभी जानते हैं जो रिसर्च है वो बताती है कि अगर हम अर्ली ईयर में स्टीम को अगर उनके सिलेबस में क्यूरिकुलम में इंक्लूड करते हैं तो उनका जो ब्रेन है वो बहुत अच्छे से काम करता है और बच्चों की जो है लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी जो है वो बनती है। तो इसलिए स्टीम बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। और रिसर्च ये भी बोलती है कि अर्ली ईयर बिफोर 5th ग्रेड के अंदर हमको स्टीम एजुकेशन को इंटीग्रेट कर देना चाहिए, अदरवाइज स्टूडेंट का जो इंटरेस्ट है वो इससे चला जाता है। तो ये कुछ फैक्ट है स्टीम एजुकेशन के बारे में। इसी तरीके से हम सभी जानते हैं कि अगर हम स्टूडेंट को अगर हम स्टीम एजुकेशन के थ्रू उनको पढ़ाएंगे तो उनमें क्या क्या चीजें डेवलप होंगी, क्या उसका बेनिफिट्स है। तो जो डिफरेंट जो स्टडीज हुई है और उनकी फाइंडिंग उसको मैंने यहाँ पे समराइज किया है कि स्टूडेंट जो है वो एबल हो जाएगा कि कैसे वो किस तरीके से आउटसाइड द बॉक्स वो सोच सकता है, कैसे वो अपने आइडियाज को दूसरों के सामने प्रेजेंट कर सकता है, वो कंफर्टेबल रहेगा क्योंकि वो खुद करके सीख रहा है। इसलिए ये जो लर्निंग है उसकी स्टेबल होगी, वो अपनी लर्निंग में मास्टर स्वयं होगा, वो अपने हिसाब से अपनी मर्जी से चीजों को सीख पाएगा, वो ग्रुप में काम कर पाएगा, वो समझ पाएगा कि कैसे साइंस, मैथ, इंजीनियरिंग और टेक्नोलॉजी जो है, ये जो हम बोलते हैं कि ये जो सब्जेक्ट डिफरेंट डिसिप्लिन है अलग अलग है, बट यहाँ पे स्टीम में हम इन चारों सब्जेक्ट को एक साथ मिला के इसी एक रियल प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व करने के लिए काम करते हैं, जो अल्टीमेट एम है स्टीम एजुकेशन का। और जो बच्चा है वो शुरू से क्यूरियस होता है, तो जब इन होलिस्टिक वे में नॉलेज को वो कोलैबोरेट करके चीजों को करता है तो उसकी जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है वो बहुत ज्यादा होती है। टीम के थ्रू बच्चों में लाइफ स्किल भी डेवलप होती है और स्टीम के थ्रू हम बच्चों में नेचुरल क्यूरियोसिटी को डेवलप कर सकते हैं। इसीलिए कि जैसे मेरे पहले जो प्रेजेंटर थी प्रेजेंट कर रही थी कि जो अर्ली चाइल्डहुड एजुकेशन में हमको इसको इनकॉर्पोरेट करना चाहिए, लेकिन अभी ये दिक्कत है कि ये ट्रेंड देखने को नहीं मिल रहा है। बहुत रेयरेस्ट लोग हैं जो इसके बारे में अवेयर है और इसके अल्टीमेट पर्पस को समझ पा रहे हैं। तो इस तरीके से हम देखते हैं कि लोगों में बहुत सारे मिथ्स भी है स्टीम एजुकेशन को लेके। जैसे कि पहला मिथ है कि लोग सोचते हैं कि जो स्टीम फील्ड है केवल जीनियस स्टूडेंट के लिए है, जबकि ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। कोई सिंपल स्टूडेंट भी स्टीम एजुकेशन में आके और बहुत अच्छे से सीख सकता है। दूसरा मिसकॉन्सेप्ट है कि लोग सोचते हैं कि स्टीम में आने के लिए उनको बहुत सारे मल्टीपल चॉइस टेस्ट देने होंगे, जबकि ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं है। आप एक जनरल प्रॉब्लम को भी लेके उसको इनोवेटिव वे में उसको सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। तीसरा मिसकंसेप्शन है कि लोग सोचते हैं कि यहाँ पे क्रिएटिविटी का कोई स्कोप नहीं है, बट ऐसा नहीं है। यहाँ पे हम अगर समझेंगे तो हम किस तरीके से टेक्नोलॉजी का यूज करके हम कैसे इनोवेशन कर सकते हैं, नए नए आइडियाज को, नए नए डायग्राम्स को, नई नई चीजों को, हम अपनी क्रिएटिविटी को वहां पे हम इनहांस कर सकते हैं। जो फोर्थ कॉन्सेप्ट है कि स्टीम में जो ग्रेजुएट जो पढ़ेंगे वो केवल साइंटिस्ट ही बनेंगे, जबकि हम सभी जॉब ट्रेंड को देख रहे हैं तो हमें पता है कि केवल साइंस की स्ट्रीम ही नहीं, दूसरी स्ट्रीम भी है जहाँ पे कि हमें स्टीम ग्रेजुएट्स की जरूरत है। और पांचवा जो मिसकंसेप्ट है लोगों में है कि जो स्टीम है वो केवल वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज में ही सक्सेसफुल है, जबकि ऐसा नहीं है। अभी पूरी दुनिया में जो है केवल फॉरेन कंट्रीज ही नहीं, हमारे इंडिया में भी हमारी नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी ने स्टीम को इंटीग्रेट करने की बात करी है और बहुत ही जल्दी इस डायरेक्शन में बहुत सारी स्कीम्स चल रही हैं और बहुत सारे काम हो रहे हैं, जिसके बारे में मैं आगे थोड़ा सा बात करूंगी। आगे चलते चैलेंजेस की बात करते हैं कि स्कीम को जब हम इनकॉर्पोरेट करते हैं तो क्या क्या चैलेंजेस हमारे इंडियन सिनारियो में हैं। तो सबसे पहला जो चैलेंज अगर बात करूंगी वो है कि पीपल बिलीव्स अबाउट स्टीम। लोग पहले से ही स्टीम के बारे में धारणा बना के बैठे, जैसा कि मैंने पहले डिस्कस किया, जो उनके मिथ है या मिसकंसेप्शन है कि स्टीम केवल वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज के लिए है, जबकि ऐसा नहीं है।
आप प्लीज 1 मिनट में कंक्लूड कीजिए। आप फाइंडिंग का कंक्लूजन पे डिस्कस कीजिए फाइनली।
ओके ओके। तो यहाँ पे हम देख रहे हैं कि स्कीम क्योंकि इतना इम्पोर्टेंट है, इसको लेके जो है गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत सारी स्कीम चलाई, जिसमें कि नीति आयोग की एक स्कीम है अटल इनोवेशन मिशन, जिसके अंदर बहुत सारे स्टेट में अटल टिंकरिंग लैब जो खोली गई है, जहाँ पे कि बहुत सारे हमारे सोशियो इकोनॉमिक बैकग्राउंड वाले स्टूडेंट आके वहाँ पे इन स्टीम एजुकेशन की प्रैक्टिस करते हैं और अपनी जो थिंकिंग स्किल है, इमेजिनेशन स्किल्स है, उसको वो डेवलप करते हैं। अभी गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ने आल्सो जो है नेशनल काउंसिल ऑफ साइंस म्यूजियम, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ कल्चर के सपोर्ट और डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी के सपोर्ट से कंपटीशन ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहा है, लार्जिस्टिक रोबोटिक्स कंपटीशन, जिसके थ्रू वो रूरल एरिया से जो इस तरीके के टैलेंट है उनको लेके आ रहे हैं और उनको आगे सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं। इसी तरीके से विज्ञान ज्योति प्रोग्राम है जो कि डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ साइंस टेक्नोलॉजी की तरफ से चलाया जा रहा है और यहाँ पे जो है नवोदय विद्यालय समिति के साथ इन्होंने टाई अप किया है और बहुत सारे स्कूल में स्टीम ऐप जो है वो सप्लाई किया जा रहा है और उसके थ्रू स्टूडेंट को जो है उसकी ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है, सिखाया जा रहा है। इसी तरीके से झारखंड स्टेट में आदर्श विद्यालय स्कीम जो है वो लॉन्च की गई है, जहाँ पे कि बहुत सारे जो 27 स्कूल है मॉडल स्कूल बना के स्टीम एजुकेशन को वहाँ पे उनके एजुकेशन के साथ इंटीग्रेट किया गया है। और इसी तरीके से रिसेंटली फ्यूचर स्किल सर्वे जो था उसने भी बहुत सारी बात करी है। तो इन सारे को देखते हुए जो है हमें जो सजेशन जो है मेरे यही है, आधे मिनट में बताऊंगी। पहला है कि हमें क्यूरिकुलम रिफॉर्म करने की जरूरत है, दूसरा है कि इंट्रोडक्शन ऑफ न्यू एज टेक्नोलॉजी को हमें अपने सिलेबस में लाने की जरूरत है, हमें सॉफ्ट जो स्किल्स है उनको अपने क्यूरिकुलम में लाना है। फोर्थ इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है कि हमारा जो टीचर ट्रेनिंग है, हमारा टीचर जो है अभी रेडी नहीं है इनको इंटीग्रेशन करने के लिए स्कीम के, तो हमें उनको बहुत ज्यादा जरूरत है उनको ट्रेन करने की और एनईपी इस बारे में बोल रही है। दूसरा है इंडस्ट्री एक्सपोजर की भी जरूरत है, जिससे कि बच्चा रियल एक्सपीरियंस लेके आएगा और काम करेगा फील्ड में। मोर एम्फेसिस ऑन प्रैक्टिकल एंड ब्लेंडेड मोड ऑफ लर्निंग, ये भी बहुत स्टूडेंट प्रिफर कर रहे हैं। करंट बहुत सारे स्टडी हुई है कि स्टूडेंट जो चाहते हैं अब की ब्लेंडेड मोड में पढ़ना। हमें ग्लोबल रिसोर्सेज को एक्सपोज करने की जरूरत है और ऑन साइट विजिट करने की जरूरत है। ये सारे मेरे सजेशन हैं। थैंक यू सो मच सर फॉर गिविंग मी दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी। ओके, थैंक यू।
थैंक यू। नेक्स्ट मालिनी सुब्रमण्यम। मालिनी सुब्रमण्यम। रश्मानी कर्मकार।
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Shall I present, sir?
You please discuss on only methodology, findings, and conclusion, because
Okay,
we
sir.
have limited time. Yeah, please.
A very good morning to all the dignitaries present here. I am Rasmani Karmukar, research scholar of Department of Education, Kazi Nazrul University, West Bengal, under the guidance of Dr. Santosh Kumar Behra, sir. Today, I'd like to present my topic on transdisciplinary approach through STEM education for creating productive and cohesive nation. We all know that with the advancement of science and technology and with the changing need of the society as well as the learners' need, the teaching learning process and education system need to be revamped, and National Education Policy 2020 also recommended to integrate science, technology, engineering and mathematics to rejuvenate the entire education system. And the core elements of STEM education are knowledge, skill and attitude. And it builds the boundaries of the multiple discipline and suggested transdisciplinary approach in the education system. It also increases the curiosity of the learners and motivate to encourage them to inculcate information and to inculcate the creative thinking among them. And this practice will also cultivate their adaptive capacity and will sharpen their thinking process. And it transcends the national boundary and also penetrates the international competitiveness. And in importance is in numerous dimensions like social well-being, economic growth, and national development, and also productivity. And these are the skills, 21st century learning skills that comprises foundation knowledge, humanistic knowledge, that means to value, and meta knowledge to act. And it will also be an agenda to invest the public investment in global science, and it will create a cohesive nation including unity and diversity that can be emancipated through this newly invented idea. And it will enhance the scientific temper, evidence-based thinking, innovative ideas, skill-oriented knowledge, and will also fulfill the vision of MEP 2020. And this is transdisciplinary approach. This is different from the multidisciplinary as well as the interdisciplinary approach, because transdisciplinary approach create a new subsidiary discipline that can emerge from the existing knowledge or existing disciplinary. And it also leads transformative education that include the real world problems and skill based understanding and complex system thinking. So it integrates many disciplines, but it also retain its original quality. And this is also a diagram or informatics from which we can understand the monodisciplinary, multidisciplinary, and interdisciplinary and transdisciplinary. And in case of transdisciplinary approach, new frameworks, concepts, and methodologies can be emerged. The objectives of my study is to analyze the recommendations of NEP 2020 regarding STEM education and its dimensions, to find out the opportunities of STEM education to create productive and cohesive nation in India, to find out obstacle of STEM education to create productive and cohesive nation in India. And for the methodology, the researcher had used qualitative approach, inductive analysis, and creative synthesis. And first, according to the first objective, recommendation of NEP 2020 on STEM education are NEP 2020 recommended STEM learning and approach to strengthen the teaching learning process and to initiate the transdisciplinary learning where there will be no boundary in case of disciplines. And it also inculcates computational thinking, machine learning, inquiry-based approach. That is also the way of constructivist approach, and it will create a cohesive nation and productive citizen with 7R. Earlier it was 3R, reading, writing, arithmetic. Now it is 7R, reading, writing, arithmetic, and along with that, recreating rights, responsibility, and relationship. And critical thinking, holistic learning, inquiry-based approach, discovery-based learning, discussion-based learning, all can be inculcated with the help of STEM education, and artificial intelligence, design thinking, and so on. And machine learning and math and computational thinking that can be started from the foundational stage, that means age 6, according to the NEP 2020. And opportunities, and by this STEM education, their students can be they can be enlightened in many ways, in numerous ways, like achievement can be increased, their engagement and performance in the education system. They can be also engaged in creative activities, inquiry based learning, and transformation, that is theory based learning to skill based learning, can be enhanced. And scientific attitude can be built up, and confidence and competence, that is also the need of the hour. Confidence and competence in the field of education system, that will also enhance the opportunity of transformative education as envisioned in NEP 2020. It will also link education, research, and industry. All the fields can be interlinked by this approach, and it will inculcate 21st century.
Conclude.
Okay, sir.
Conclude your paper.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. And as obstacles, there are digital dividend, cost intensive, prominent in urban area. These are the, and shortage of resources, lack of awareness, proper teacher education approach, proper teacher education system. These are the obstacles to implement STEM education in our developing country like India. And these are the obstacles. In conclusion, we can say that overcoming all the barriers of transdisciplinary approach, we can create a new kind of nation, new kind of integrated nation with collaborative learning, cooperative attitude, and cohesive understanding that can be inculcated through these skills, machine learning, computational thinking, and design thinking. And we can create a self-reliant India through this STEM education, and we can fulfill the goal of SDG Sustainable Development Goal 4, that is quality education, and we can create productive and cohesive nation through same education from the primary level to tertiary level. These are the references. So we can say as take-home message, encourage transdisciplinary approach in transformative education, ensure productive and cohesive nation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next, Anusri Pandey.
Yes, sir.
Please start now. You have discussed only methodology, findings, and conclusion, please.
Yes. Sir, my slides are visible?
Yes.
Very good morning to the respected chairperson and co-chairperson, sir, and all the participants. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present my paper here. I'm Anusri Pandey, Assistant Professor Sociology, Naveen Government Girls College, Takhatpur, Chhattisgarh. Today, I'm going to talk about Education 4.0, a new paradigm shift to digital education in India. So as we all know that we have entered into 21st century world that is completely technology driven, that provides immense opportunity and scope. As we all know that nowadays our life is swirling around technology, mobile phone and internet, and we cannot even spend an hour without mobile phone and internet. So how this happens? With the onset of industrial revolution and liberalization, the global dissemination of new technology and innovative ideas has captured worldwide, and that gradually ensured the transformation in every sphere of life. Education, being an important sector of human life, has also evolved and transformed according to demand of new age skills and potential. As Industrial Revolution 4.0 demands and have this important feature of artificial intelligence, machine learning, quantum computing, 5G technology, and metaverse that has provides multitude of scope for an advanced future. So as we know that India has the largest youth population in the world, around 66% of the total population is below age 35. So we have to train our young generation to cope up with the changing environment and changing demands of the new generation. In this hyperlapse situation, digitalization and upgradation of new education system and holistic curriculum is required for upskilling of students through the incorporation of multidisciplinary approach of STEM that inculcates artificial intelligence, 3D printing, robotics, and many other things that develops critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. How this happens during COVID-19 pandemic, it is considered, which is considered the most lethal pandemic. The academic institutions has shifted from traditional way of teaching learning to virtual mode of teaching learning, and that has initiated the new education policy that has initiated Education 4.0, which is completely based on digitalization of education. The new education policy 2020 caters to provide quality, holistic, and student-centric approach, which is completely research-oriented and digital education in India that envisages among student collaborative learning, co-creation, and innovation that they can access information and knowledge from anywhere and anytime. My main objective in this paper is to analyze the emergence of Education 4.0, to identify the benefits of Education 4.0 and digital education for students of new generation, to study the government initiatives aligned with Education 4.0, and to understand the challenges imposed by Education 4.0. In this research paper, data and information is gathered through secondary sources, newspaper, articles, journals, and internet sources. Research paper and descriptive analysis of Industrial Revolution 4.0 and Education 4.0 has been done to understand its impact on education. So now we'll see the stages of emergence of education 4.0. It starts with education 1.0, which was completely teacher-centered and holistic, but and highly personalized. Then later on, we moved to education 2.0 on advent of industrial revolution. In this, communication and collaboration started to emerge among students, which is completely based on examination and memorization of knowledge approach designed to produce large-scale skilled labors. Then we slowly moved on to 3.0, Education 3.0. It is based on student-centered approach in which teacher plays the role of facilitator, advisor, coordinator, and guide. This emerged in post-internet digital era in which sharing and making of videos content are ubiquitous and contents are made to available to all and anyone can access from anywhere. So now after that we have entered into education 4.0, which is highly advanced model of teaching and learning according to demand of industrial revolution 4.0, which is based on digitalization and innovation in pedagogy that inculcated personalized learning in self-paced mode from anywhere and anytime. It is technology driven artificial intelligence learning that focuses on high scalability and employability. Now we can see in this picture that education 1.0 is completely teacher-centered, where students are passive recipients of information. Education 2.0 shows that in this collaboration and communication among students and teachers started. And after the post-digital era, education 3.4 emerges. Like in this today's generation, we are going through education 3.0 and getting towards education 4.0, where we are continuously using social media platforms and various tools and technologies for virtual mode of learning like YouTube's and Google Meet and Google Classroom. And now education 4.0 is taking towards artificial intelligence that and cloud computing, 5D technology, and 3D printing and robotics. Now we will see the education 4.2 and overview in context of STEM education. So the four important components of education 4.0 that is important in bringing STEM education to the top. The first is competency, training and developing competencies among students and upskilling them. Learning method, incorporation of new learning methodology, highly engrossed upon internet, cyber technology, data science-based information. Third is information communication and technology, regulation of current advances in cyber world and its uses in education system. And fourth is infrastructure, use of innovative and creative infrastructure for increasing learning capability and engagement among students. The science, technology, engineering, and mathematics has. Yes, sir.
Come on, conclusion, please.
Okay, sir.
Come on, conclusion.
So we can see that digital revolution that world is going through is far-reaching and has very important impact on every sphere of life. In pre-internet world, our work was physical. Books were physically placed in library. Information is sent through letters. But in post-digital world, the power of digital revolution started transform every aspect of human civilization experientially. Industrial 4.0. Industrial Revolution 4.0 has great impact on every sector of life. Education being the important sector also get influenced by it almost. It introduced advanced technology like artificial intelligence, robotics, metaverse, etc. that has needed high skill youth to maximize benefit out of it. Education 4.0 played a decisive role to prepare learners to face and evolve themselves in this transforming age. In this era, in this sea change phenomena, government ICT initiatives and New Education Policy 2020 remolding education system with the integration of STEM education with digitalization, research activities for holistic and inclusive development.
Thank you. Next, Adu M. George. Next, Janki.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Adu M. George. Okay, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. You should discuss on only methodology, findings, and conclusion, please.
Yes, sir. Hope I am audible, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yes, okay, sir. Good morning to all. Okay, let me write. Good morning to all. My name is Anu M. George. I'm a research scholar, School of Pedagogical Sciences, Mahatma Gandhi University. My title of my paper is Mathematical Literacy and Achievement in Mathematics Among Secondary School Students. My co-author is my supervising teacher, Professor Menikutti A., School of Pedagogical Sciences, Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam. We know that the most important capital for the world of work hard is skills. And we have to prepare our students for the future challenges, then we have to identify and solve problems that have yet to define, the jobs that do not yet exist, the technologies that have not yet been invented. For that, we need STEM education at the earliest. The interdisciplinary approach of STEM education will help the students foster their skill acquisition in mathematics and science subjects. It helps the learners to realize the nature of learning in each subject is complementary. Getting aware of this interrelationship will help them to solve problems in a multidisciplinary nature. It also helps secondary school students succeed in higher education and in competitive exams. And exposing the students in STEM disciplines at the earliest is better. A study conducted by Microsoft team in 2011 revealed that 78% of STEM college students decided to choose a STEM career in their high schools or in earlier. And the shocking fact that a teacher or a class were the reason for their interest in STEM. And this response is from the girl students. It points out the importance of STEM education in secondary schools and the vital role of teachers and learning experiences. The gender disparity in STEM careers can be reduced by preparing the students for the same in secondary schools. Even if there are many initiatives by the government of India, we know that still there exists a gap between our academic curriculum and industry expectations. A strong mathematics foundation is required to succeed and make sense of STEM fields. And we know that maths is a language, but also very critical for understanding and advancing in other disciplines. We need mathematics knowledge and skills to apply more in terms of real-world problems. There comes the importance of mathematical literacy skills. The mathematical literacy skills, the transfer effect of mathematical literacy skills on achievement in different school domains and its lasting educational decisions will help our students to success in mathematics achievement. Okay.
Anu M. George, we have limited time. Please conclude your paper. Please conclude your paper.
So to find the relationship between mathematical literacy and achievement in mathematics, and how the influence of mathematical literacy in achievement in mathematics, we have conducted a study, a survey method, and the tools were used. The students were given a mathematical literacy test in which the items were from their immediate life, and an achievement test was given. Total 145 secondary school students were selected, and in which 66 were boys and 79 were girls. The study showed an average level of mathematical literacy among secondary school students and an average level of achievement in mathematics. And while comparing the mathematical literacy skills and achievement in mathematics, there was a significant difference among boys and girls, between boys and girls. And there was not in the achievement, the boys and girls are equal. And it showed from the table, it's clear that there is a relationship between mathematical literacy and achievement in mathematics for the total groups and for the boys and girls. And the influence. To find the influence, the students were grouped based on mathematical literacy skills, and these are the results of ANOVA. And from this, it is found that there's an influence of mathematical literacy skills in achievement in mathematics of students. And the implications of the study. Since the study showed a difference in mathematical literacy between boys and girls, and girls are not equally good at mathematical literacy skills, girls should have given the equal provisions for enhancing mathematical literacy. The issues, challenges, and solutions for the same need to be identified and addressed in the secondary school mathematics curriculum. The positive relationship between mathematical literacy and achievement.
Thank you, Anu M. George. Thank you, please. Next, Janki. Next, Dr. Lalima. Dr. Arsi.
Hello.
Dr. Arsi.
Hello. Sir, I am audible?
Yes. Yes.
Sir, I Dr. Arshi.
Please discuss. Yeah, please discuss on findings and conclusion.
Sir, I am prepare article on flipped classroom in teacher education in education 4.0.
Sir, I am Radha Rani. I am present here.
हेलो
सर नेटवर्क इशू था, इस वजह से आवाज नहीं आ पा रही थी आपकी.
सर कैन आई प्रेजेंट माय पेपर?
Just moment. Dr. Lalima and Radha Rani.
जी सर.
तो पहले जन डॉक्टर आरसी. First Dr. Arsi, please.
Okay, thank you, sir. Sir, I Dr. Arshi, HOD in Integrated Education, Ma Bharti PG College, Kota. Sir, I prepared flipped classroom in teacher education. It is an article.
Okay. Please go ahead. You discuss on finding and conclusion only.
Okay, sir.
ओके सर. सर, टीचर एजुकेशन में फ्लिप क्लासरूम किस तरह से कार्य कर रहा है और 4.0 में किस तरह से रिलेशन रखेगा? एजुकेशन 3 में भी फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम इंट्रोड्यूस किया गया है और इसको काफी कॉलेजेस में अप्लाई किया गया है. इवन मैंने अपने कॉलेज में माइक्रो टीचिंग ट्रेनिंग में भी फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम को अप्लाई करा था. तो सर इसका एजुकेशन 4.0 में किस तरह से रोल रहेगा ये मैं डिस्कस करना चाह रही हूँ, फ्लिप्ड क्लासरूम समझाना चाह रही हूँ. सर, two of the core question that we must ask when we apply new pedagogy. जब भी हम कभी भी कोई pedagogy apply करते हैं तो हमारे पास दो क्वेश्चन होते हैं कि हम इसे क्यों करें और कैसे करें. How and why? Why should we use new pedagogy? How can we use new pedagogy well? Flipped pedagogy answer both why and how question. The new pedagogy was introduced by Flipped Learning Global Initiatives, a worldwide coalition of educators, researchers, technologists, professional development providers, and education leaders who are committed to flipped learning, and it is radically transforming classroom across the globe. It is a method that both value teacher expertise and move classroom to more student-centered learning. A flipped classroom refer to inverting the traditional एजुकेशनल मॉडल. मीन्स ट्रेडिशनल एजुकेशन मॉडल में टीचर जब ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी के ऑब्जेक्टिव्स प्राप्त करने के लिए क्लास में पहुंचता है तो वो नॉलेज और अंडरस्टैंडिंग के ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को क्लासरूम में डिस्कस करता है और क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग को होमवर्क में देता है. बट फ्लिप पेडागोजी ने इसको इन्वर्ट कर दिया, रिवर्स कर दिया. फ्लिप पेडागोजी में अंडरस्टैंडिंग और नॉलेज के लिए टीचर स्टूडेंट को वीडियो, पीपीटीज या अदर ओपन एजुकेशनल रिसोर्सेज अवेलेबल करवाता है कि वो घर पर अपने टाइम के अकॉर्डिंग उसे पढ़कर आए, नॉलेज और अंडरस्टैंडिंग के ऑब्जेक्टिव्स को वो लेकर आए. और वो क्लासरूम में या तो वो वर्चुअल हो सकती है या फिर लाइव क्लासरूम, रियल क्लासरूम में वो हाई ऑर्डर थिंकिंग के क्वेश्चंस डिस्कस करता है, असाइनमेंट को डिस्कस करता है और टीचर यहाँ एज ए फैसिलिटेटर वर्क करता है. Flipped learning help student attend the class well prepared, and thus the time of the class was spent on higher order cognitive activities rather than focusing on lot of language form. The flipped approach reverses the Bloom taxonomy of cognitive activities, while the lower order cognitive activities include understanding, remembering are carried before the class. Afterward,
okay, thank you, Dr. Arsi. Thank you. Next, Radha Rani. Please. We have limited time. Radha Rani, please start now.
Sir, my slides are visible?
Yes. Please discuss on only findings and conclusion.
Okay, sir. Thank you. My topic is integrating STEM education with music, issues and challenge, jointly presented by Dr. Lalima, Assistant Professor, BBAU Lucknow, and Radha Rani, PhD Scholar, Department of Education, BBAU Lucknow. Before coming to the topic, I would like to say a quote. Science and arts equally are expression of man marvelous plasticity of mind. Introduction is सर मैं सिर्फ पॉइंट बताना चाहूंगी क्योंकि टाइम की कमी के कारण STEM subjects are very complicated and abstract, which is difficult for students to understand. It can be also difficult at time to motivate students enough to stay engaged during STEM class. STEM subjects should be made interesting, easy, and attractive for the students. Music intervention and integration is one of the way to make teaching learning of STEM subjects engaging and appealing. Now, relationship of music and STEM education. Music and STEM are related to each other. There are benefits to combining STEM with music as well as the STEM into a music class. Benefits of music. Enhanced researches are sourced, researches are reported, enhance logical thoughts process, improve self-expression, make it easy to learn math and science, improve students' memory and attention, release anxiety and stress. Approach to incorporate music with STEM education. दो अप्रोच हमारे पास हैं, एक तो डायरेक्ट अप्रोच है, एक इनडायरेक्ट अप्रोच है. डायरेक्ट अप्रोच में हम क्या करते हैं, म्यूजिक को डायरेक्टली इंटीग्रेट करते हैं जैसे मटेरियल या कंटेंट में. अगर हम इनडायरेक्ट अप्रोच की बात करें तो हम इनडायरेक्ट अप्रोच में इनडायरेक्टली यानी कि लर्निंग प्रोसेस में या फिर हम बैकग्राउंड में
मेरे पास टाइम नहीं है, आप कंक्लूजन पे आइए डायरेक्ट.
जी सर. To conclude this paper, music integration with STEM education in the classroom by giving the students a new way to educate their skills. Encouraging teachers to adopt new ways of teaching in the classroom and use to music, enhance their transaction of learning content and modify their teaching skill to teach STEM subjects. Last conclusion है मेरा, it has the responsibility to aware the prospective teacher, policy makers and teacher educators of the benefits of music integration with STEM education. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Next, Stan Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Please discuss on findings and conclusion only.
Yes. Is my PPT visible?
Yes.
Good morning. Respected chair and co-chair of this session, myself, Stan Joseph, Assistant Professor, ISC, Thrissur. And my paper for the presentation is STEAM Education for Betterment of Humanity, Prospects and Challenges. STEAM approach makes the possibility of learning and applying concepts of science and technology, engineering and math to real-world problems that connect the education system with the community and thereby promoting the achievement of students and prepare students for global competition. In the beginning of the 21st century, not only the teachers, but also the political and industrial leaders emphasized the importance of integration of STEM education in schools. STEM education is the integration of content and process of science and maths with the content and process of technology and engineering to bring about desired learning outcomes. STEAM education builds on the foundation of STEM. STEAM education is defined as an interdisciplinary approach after adding art into STEM education. STEAM education is developed to understand the nature of correlation among science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics. A in STEM education represents both art and humanities. The purpose of adding A to STEM is to provide more engaging and more authentic learning experiences for students to learn STEM. STEM education is a contextual learning incorporating science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics while teaching concepts needed for 21st century skills such as creativity, innovation, communication, collaboration.
Please conclude your paper.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Main objective of this paper is to analyze the studies selected in terms of number of publications per year to get an idea about the STEAM education, to identify the different prospects and challenges about the STEAM education. For the study, I have adopted a systematic review. The search strategy involves the inclusion and exclusion of studies based on the following criteria. The inclusion of criteria required the study to be recent. The database should be from the ERIC. Another inclusion criteria of each study should be included must be peer-reviewed and in English. Another inclusion criteria for the selection of samples was the articles within the full text available in the ERIC database. It was important that the sample included studies represent science education and teaching, learning, and STEM education.
Thank you.
The
Thank you.
total
Thank you. Thank you. Next, Priyanka. Next, Rinki.
Yes, sir.
Rinki,
Yes, sir.
please discuss on findings and conclusion.
Sure, sir. Good morning, all of you. Thank you for giving this chance to sharing my ideas in front of you. And yes, I am explaining, I am writing a paper on philosophy of STEM educations. And yes, my name is Rinki Malik and I am from Delhi University, Department of Philosophy. So basically, in STEM educations, and now you are going through in a mechanistic world rather than in the empirical world. So still, everyone will be saying about the STEM education, what is the mechanistic pros and cons, but I am trying to explain in a different way what is the philosophical analysis of STEM educations. So that's why it's very difficult to understand them, those are belongs to this without background of philosophy, but still I am trying to explain is all the concept. So that's why I'm trying to explain the four kinds of or variations of philosophy. So that is epistemology, ethics, metaphysics, and logics. So basically in metaphysics part, my primary goal is to understand the philosophy of STEM educations, and metaphysics, it's a simple word. You have to be say that the reality of you have to study of the reality, and it also explaining the concept of the cause and effect and space and times. It's really very important to understand things to students. It's not every time you are unable to teach them through the gadget or through the theory or through the experiment. This concept, sometimes the humanity studies are required this cause effect or space and time concept to understand them properly. So that's why when the metaphysical concept or what is metaphysics, if the educator are trained that in during their training system, then it will be easier for them to understand the student that what is the actual things. Like for example, when you were explaining them that electrons have a charge, so the metaphysics questions that what is the electrons as an object. So this is the basic concept to before studying them or before teach them to students, you have to be clarify the fundamental things. What is the explaining in your in your class? So let's move forward to the epistemological parts. It is the theory of knowledge. It is explaining that what is knowledge. In the beginning of the students, when you are just explaining something or whatever you studying them, teach them that what is the theory or anything, then you are using the concept of knowledge. So the primary question from the student side is that what is knowledge? So you have to understand that what is knowledge, and it also the epistemological part is also explaining that justification, truth, belief, like whatever the knowledge student gain, you have to be.
Rinki.
Okay, sir. But let me continue.
Thank you. Next, Najia Khanum, please.
conclude my conclusion part, sir. Thank you so much.
Please discuss on only findings and conclusion.
Wait a minute, sir. Sir, I am unable to share my screen. May I present orally? Hello. Good morning, sir. Sir, I am unable to share my PPT. May I present orally?
Not presented yet. Yes.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Nazia Khanum, PhD Research Scholar from Education Department, Karnataka State Akamahadevi Women's University. My study title is A Study on Effectiveness of STEM Education Pedagogy Awareness Program for Pre-Service Teacher Trainees. So the purpose of my study was to investigate the effectiveness of STEM education program. Two objectives I had framed for conducting the study. The first objective of the study is to create awareness about STEM education pedagogy among pre-service teachers. The second objective of my study is to assess awareness about STEM education pedagogy among pre-service teachers. So random sampling techniques I had adopted to conduct the study. 50 pre-service teacher trainees of B.Ed course I had took as a sample of the study. So the data analysis. For data analysis, Pearson correlation coefficient test I had used, and it had been found from data analysis there is a slightly positive correlation between arts and science subject teacher trainees of B.Ed course regarding STEM pedagogy. And along that, it had been found there was a positive high correlation between male and female pre-service teacher trainees in awareness of STEM pedagogy concept. So it can be said that there is a no significant, there is a not much correlation is found between the arts and science teacher trainees because the arts teacher trainees don't have a science background. So the education implication of my study is there is a need to conduct a more awareness program for teacher trainees about the STEM concept, and there is a need to design a curriculum related to the STEM pedagogy. So this is the conclusion of my study. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next, Khushbu Kumari. Next, Damini. Dr. Yogita. Next, Joydeep. Next, Nabani. Nabani Burman.
Yes, sir.
Please start now. You should discuss only findings and conclusion. Okay.
Sir, is it visible, sir?
Yes, yes.
Good morning to all. I am Naboni Bormon, doctoral research fellow under the supervision of Professor Ashish Srivastava, Mahatma Gandhi Central University. Now I am going to discuss on the topic of geographical education as a potential field of STEM education for enhancing sustainable mindsets, a critical analysis. On the basis of the document analysis, the study intends to study the following: geography and its dealing area, STEM and its importance, geography and STEM, geography along with STEM enhancing sustainable mindset. Firstly, what geography deals with? Geography is the art-related science we all know. It deals with the arts, natural and environmental, human environment and their interrelationships. Also, it deals with the spatial variability, such as how different phenomena, events, and processes changes within and between the places. Geography also helps to understand different earth-shaping forces and their mechanisms. It provides us the knowledge of indigenous ways, how people are adjusting in different environmental situations. Apart from this, geography helps to understanding the contemporary challenges such as climate change, food security, energy choices, and exploitation of natural resources and urbanization. It provides the practical knowledge of maps, fieldwork, different digital communication technologies such as geographic information system. Now, what is STEM education and what are the importance of STEM education? I'm not going to discuss this because this is already discussed. I'm directly going to geography and STEM education, where STEM, the concept of STEM or STEM knowledge are rooted in geography. If we study the geographic contents of geography, then we can see there are different scientific concepts.
Navani, please conclude your paper.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, my name is Priyanka. I want to present my topic.
Please wait. Next, Firdos. Firdos Tabassum.
Yes, sir, I'm present here. Yes, sir, I'm present.
Please start now. You should discuss only findings and conclusion.
Okay, sure, sir. Sir, is my PPT is visible? Hello? Sir, my PPT is visible?
No.
Okay, just a minute. I think
internet is slow. Please discuss on findings and conclusion.
okay, sir. Can you please allow me to share from mobile?
We have limited time.
Okay, sir. I'm presenting now without PPT. Okay. My topic is investigating STEAM awareness among prospective science and mathematics teachers. I will come on methodology part because already time has limited. The research question of my topic is: are the prospective science and mathematics teachers aware of STEAM? Or second one is there a significant difference between prospective science and mathematics teachers? For methodology part, I have taken a quantitative descriptive survey study, and in this 130 prospective science and mathematics teachers has selected voluntarily. And different items were made for descriptive analysis of the data. For example, do you know about the STEAM? How do you come to know about the STEAM? And all this data says that prospective science and mathematics teachers were aware superficially. And after that, the next two hypothesis, there is no significant difference between prospective science and mathematics teacher towards STEAM awareness has checked through Mann-Whitney U-test, which is the substitute of t-test, parametric t-test. And above and the table and after the analysis of the data through Mann-Whitney U-test, the result came out that prospective science teachers has more awareness towards STEAM. And after analyzing the data, it also came that prospective science and mathematics teachers face challenges in applying STEAM in Indian classroom. Just like curriculum is not designed in a multidisciplinary way, teachers find the STEAM approach time-taking. Teachers need appropriate training for STEAM education. And so hence the study reveals the prospective science teachers and mathematics teachers have basic information about STEAM, but they don't have practical experience. Although awareness about STEAM among prospective science and mathematics teachers more than mathematics teacher. The study also indicates that prospective mathematics teachers were unable to visualize STEAM in their classroom. Therefore, the study suggested that teacher education institutions should motivate and train the prospective teachers in STEAM education. Prospective teachers should also train during their micro teaching by their supervisor or mentors to incorporate the concept of STEAM in their lesson plan. Apart from this, workshop, conferences, and training programs should also be organized for their teachers and as well prospective teachers regarding STEAM-based education. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next, Sachin Kumar. Sachin Kumar and Poonam Pandita.
Good morning,
Next,
sir.
Dr. Soumya. Yes.
Sir, I am Sachin Kumar.
Okay. Please
thank
discuss on findings and conclusion. We have limited time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning. Good morning to all. सर ये हमारा जॉइंट पेपर है. ऑथर है सचिन कुमार, रिसर्च स्कॉलर फ्रॉम सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ जम्मू, एंड माय को-ऑथर इज पूनम पंडिता, रिसर्च स्कॉलर सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ जम्मू. सर मैं स्ट्रीम की बात पे अभी नहीं करूंगा क्योंकि मैं सुबह से देख रहा हूं कि बड़े सारे पेपर्स आए हैं, तो मैं सीधा जैसे आपने बोला कि मैं सीधा क्रैक्स पे ही आऊंगा. हाँ सर, हम ये देखेंगे कि सर जो ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी है ये सर कैसे स्टेम को इंटीग्रेट करके रखती है. क्योंकि सब जब हम ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी की बात करते हैं तो सर हम कोई भी सब्जेक्ट पढ़ा लें, चाहे साइंस पढ़ा लें, चाहे टेक्नोलॉजी से डील कर लें, चाहे हम इंजीनियरिंग कर लें या हम मैथमेटिक्स कर लें, लेकिन सर जब इन सबको इंटीग्रेट करने के लिए हम किसी लेसन प्लानिंग की जरूरत है, तो सर जब हम लेसन प्लानिंग की बात करेंगे तो सर वहां से ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी अपने आप ही बीच में मर्ज करेगी. तो सर मेरा क्रैक्स ये है कि ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी विल हेल्प द डिजाइनर ऑफ स्ट्रीम education to be explicit about the goals they aim to achieve, and then teachers can design learning experience purposefully to achieve these goals. Bloom taxonomy can help STEAM educator to determine the instructional strategy and assessment method. Bloom taxonomy can help the educator to teach STEAM in an integrated way. Digital Bloom taxonomy while delivering online instruction. With the help of Bloom taxonomy, STEM educator can define to which extent the learning objective have been achieved. Bloom taxonomy will make sure that there is congruence among the components of each module of STEM education. सर जब हम बात करते हैं 4D की, सबसे वन इज करिकुलम डिजाइन की बात करते हैं, तो सबसे पहले हम डिजाइनिंग की बात करते हैं, देन हम डेवलपमेंट की बात करते हैं, देन हम डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की बात करते हैं, लास्ट हम डिसएमिनेशन की बात करते हैं. सर डिजाइनिंग में हो जाता है डेवलपमेंट, दिक्कत सर आती है जब हम डिसएमिनेशन की बात करते हैं. तो सर डिसएमिनेशन में जब हम डिजिटल ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी की बात करेंगे तो सर वहां पे कहीं ना कहीं इसकी ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी की बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंस है इन चीजों को इंटीग्रेट करने के लिए. सर हम अपनी नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में देखते हैं, उसका चैप्टर नंबर 4 जो सबसे लेंथी चैप्टर माना गया है वो करिकुलम से डील करता है. और सर करिकुलम ने उन्हें क्लियर कट कहा है कि करिकुलम में फिलोसफिकल एस्पेक्ट होगा, सोशियोलॉजिकल एस्पेक्ट होगा, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं जैसे हमारी जनरेशन बढ़ रही है तो वहां पे टेक्नोलॉजी का एस्पेक्ट ज्यादा, इसलिए सर हम ब्लूम टैक्सोनॉमी से हटके अब ब्लूम डिजिटल टैक्सोनॉमी की तरफ जा रहे हैं.
ठीक है सचिन कुमार, थैंक यू. नेक्स्ट डॉक्टर सौम्या तिवारी. Dr. Soumya Tiwari. Next, Dr. Jaya Shukla.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Jaya Shukla, please.
Sir, this is Jaya Shukla.
Okay. You should discuss only findings and conclusion.
Yes, sir. One second, sir. Let me share my PPT. Sir, my PPT is visible to you.
You have only 4 minutes to discuss.
Yes, sir. Sir. So, sir, my topic is STEM education in secondary school needs and challenges. As we know, STEM includes four major academic disciplines: science, technology, engineering, mathematics. And STEM education is an effort to combine science, technology, engineering, mathematics into one class that is based on the connection between the subjects and the real world problem. And it is an integrated interdisciplinary approach that provides hands-on and relevant learning experience for the student. It develops problem solving, creativity, communication, independent thinking, teamwork, and critical thinking in the student. STEM education covers all three domains of an individual. It includes understanding and comprehension of various concepts in the area of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and the ability to apply these concepts to real-world situations for the improvement of the society. The question arises why we need to study STEM education. So the prediction made by the National Science Foundation suggested that nearly 80% of the jobs in the future will need applicants to have STEM skills. And further, the STEM education is the road to the better future, and not just for the student, but for the entire society and human welfare. So my next slide is how STEM education can be integrated into secondary schools. So there are some ways through which we can integrate STEM education into secondary schools. First one is by using hands-on learning experience. Teachers should use an
Please
actual
discuss
learning.
on findings and conclusion, please.
Okay, sir. Sir, these are the some challenges which is low STEM integration in the schools, lack of teachers reskilling programs, lack of funds, poor guidance for the STEM subjects, integration in curriculum already discussed, and lack of time. And in conclusion, I would like to say that we can see that the STEM education is necessity of the present time, and the STEM education can bring about a progressive change in society because it fosters the creativity and problem solving thinking in student. So we have to popularize the concept of STEM education to the student as much as possible, and for this the duty of teachers become more crucial, and teachers should reinvent old teaching method and make science and math classes more interesting and innovative, and teachers should effectively integrate STEM subjects into secondary school classroom in such a way that the student can take more interest and aspire to make their career in these subjects. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Jaya Shukla.
Sir,
Please wait.
सर मैं टेक्निकल इशू की वजह से प्रेजेंट नहीं हो पाई थी, प्लीज मुझे एक बार मौका दिया जाए।
आपको मौका मिलेगा, डोंट वरी।
जी थैंक यू सर।
जो सीक्वेंस चल रहा है, सीक्वेंस में आ रहा है।
जी थैंक यू सर।
जी, पार्टिसिपेंट है नेक्स्ट सिंपी कुमारी। सिंपी कुमारी। सिंपी कुमारी।
यस सर।
आप केवल फाइंडिंग्स कंक्लूजन पे डिस्कस करो।
ओके सर। Sir, my PPT is visible.
Yes.
Good morning, our respected chairperson, sir, and co-chairperson, sir, and participants. Myself, Simpi Kumari. I complete MAd from CUSD session 2020-22. In this course, my dissertation work on the topic prospective science teachers understanding of STEM approach in science teaching under the supervision of Dr. Tarun Kumar Tyagi, sir. My research question is what is the level of prospective science teachers understanding of a STEM approach in science teaching, and second question is do gender, locality, types of institution and types of program
affect prospective science teachers' understanding of STEAM approach. Title of the problem. On the basis of above mentioned reviewed, my present study have been entitled Prospective Science Teachers Understanding of STEAM Approach in Science Teaching. Objective of the study. First objective, to study the level of prospective science teachers understanding of STEAM approach in science teaching, and the second objective, to study the level of prospective science teachers understanding of STEAM approach in science teaching with respect to gender, locality, types of institutions, and types of programs. Hypothesis of the project study. There is no significant difference between prospective science teachers' understanding of STEAM approach in science teaching with respect to gender, locality, types of institution, and types of program. Methodology section. Method here we here descriptive survey method used, population sample and sampling techniques. All the prospective science teachers who have completed or enrolled the teacher training program, 4-year integrated teacher training program BSc B.Ed, non-integrated program like B.Ed and DLED considered as population of the sample study. 174 prospective science teachers have selected in the sampling by convenient
Please
sampling
conclude
technique.
your paper. Please.
Yes, sir.
Simply Kumari, please conclude your paper.
Yes, analysis of the data. Here, first table analyze the first objective. There is a low level of prospective science teachers understanding was found, and second table, third table, fourth table, and table 5 has found there is no significance between male and female, rural and urban, central and state level, and integrated and non-integrated level. Conclusions. In present study here found that a low level of prospective science teachers understanding of a STEAM approach in science teaching was found, and there was no difference at different 4 variables level. Educational implications. There need to develop the support system for enhance the prospective science teachers understanding of STEAM
Thank you,
approach.
Simply Kumari. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next,
Please provide.
Janki Dhapola. Serial number 6,
Yes, sir.
Janki Dhapola.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Please start. Please discuss on findings and conclusion only. We have limited time.
Hello. Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, yes.
So my screen is visible?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to all of you. My topic is identification of challenges in conceptualizing life science concept of undergraduate students of Chhattisgarh for the sustainable development of STEM education. Myself, Janki Dhapola, research scholar from Guru Ghasidas Bilaspur, and my guide is Dr. Sujit Kumar Mishra, sir. So the main thing is the life science is important, topic in graduate level also, and I have seen that many students, they are not having good concept learning as well as they are not having good working understanding. So I have worked on this. My research work is totally based on that. For that, I have prepared 2 tools. One is concept for life science scale, and one is reason behind difficulty inventory. And on the basis of data collection, I have concluded that my findings were the students, they are having different understanding level and different concept learning understanding. So I have found that many of the students, they are having very poor understanding and conceptualization in life science concept. And when I try to find out the reason behind that, the reason was non-adequate facilities at the institutions and like improper study habits and poor intensity of learning and so on. So on the basis of my study, I found that the students of graduate level, zoology students, I have given them 10 concepts of zoology. And when they filled the questionnaire, I found that their concept learning is average, not so well. And when I tried to find out the reason behind that, I found many of the reason, out of which some I have mentioned over here. So I can say that on the basis of my finding, on Z score, I got 0.30 score. So it means that concept learning is somewhat well, and the challenges faced by student in conceptualization is irregular teaching learning process, non-adequate facilities at institution, low intensity of learning and all. And and I think that for that, the students should take the studies very seriously, and the teacher should teach by smart classes, and maximum, a lab facility should be provided to the students. And I think more and more practical work should be done in the schools, and the students should be regular at the school level. At the college, the student should be regular. More and more practical work should be focused, and the teacher should give more emphasis on the teaching learning aids, and students should be regular, and all these things. My conclusion is like that only. The more focus should be. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, Priyanka Karuna ma'am. Priyanka. Okay. Next,
Sir,
Khushbu
Khushbu.
Kumari. Yes. Start now,
Thank you,
Khushbu
sir.
Kumari.
Thank you, sir.
Please discuss on findings and conclusion only.
Good morning to all. Myself, Khushbu. Sir, am I visible to all?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, sir. Myself, Khushbu, MSc Botany from Nalanda Open University.
I want to present my topic.
And I want to, here I am present the research topic, waste management, present scenario and need of STEM education in India. Here is the plan of presentation. Concept of waste, waste management, classification, magnitude of problem, impact of waste, challenges, initiatives taken for the waste management, need of STEM education in the waste management, women's participation, sustainable goals of waste management, educational implication, and the conclusion. First of all, introduction part. मैं आप लोग को ये बताना चाहती हूँ कि वेस्ट जो है ये हर जगह जनरेट होते हैं. ये हम होम से भी आते हैं, इंडस्ट्री, हॉस्पिटल, मार्केट, एग्रीकल्चर, स्कूल, कॉलेजेस, हर जगह वेस्ट प्रेजेंट होते हैं. और इसका जो मेन रीजन है वो अर्बनाइजेशन, सोशल बिहेवियर, कंजम्पशन पैटर्न एंड द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ डिस्पोजल टेक्नोलॉजीज एंड मेथोडोलॉजीज. हमें टेक्नोलॉजी की अच्छी से जानकारी नहीं है, हमें मेथोडोलॉजीज की जानकारी नहीं है, जिसकी वजह से हम इसका सही से डिस्पोजल नहीं कर पा रहे हैं. तो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ वेस्ट एंड वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट. So first of all, I would like to define the waste. Waste are unwanted or useless material. It is everything around us that has no longer need or that need to be disposed. Waste वो हर चीज है हमारे तरफ जिसका कोई यूज नहीं है, जिसका यूजेबल लाइफ खत्म हो चुका है, उसको वेस्ट बोलते हैं. और वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट क्या है? तो द स्ट्रेटजी यूज टू डिस्पोज, रिड्यूस, रीयूज, प्रिवेंट द वेस्ट. इस वेस्ट को रोकने के लिए जो हम उसका स्ट्रेटजी फॉलो करते हैं, जैसे रिड्यूस करना, रिड्यूस करना, उसको हम वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट बोलते हैं. ये जनरली 3R रूल को फॉलो किया जाता है, जिसमें जैसे मैं एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल लेके बताना चाहती हूँ, जिससे को हम एक बताना चाहती हूँ. जैसे कि हम अगर कहीं मार्केट जाते हैं और वहां पे अगर हम कोई चिप्स का पैकेट खरीद रहे हैं और अगर हमें दो लोगों को खानी है तो हम एक ही चिप्स का पैकेट खरीदे, बड़ा वाला, दो नहीं खरीदते, ताकि हम प्लास्टिक वेस्ट को कम से कम मैनेज कर सके. इस तरह से हम रिड्यूस वेस्ट को कम से कम मतलब ये कर सकते हैं. रिसाइकिल, जो प्रोडक्ट रिसाइकिल होने वाले हैं जिसको हम दोबारा यूज कर सकते हैं, उसको हम फालतू का वेस्ट ना करके उसको रिसाइकिल करें. इस तरह से हम अपने
धन्यवाद
सर. मेरा नाम आया था प्रियंका करुणा में.
ठीक है प्रियंका जी, आप केवल अपनी फाइंडिंग्स और कंक्लूजन पर बात करिए.
ओके सर.
एक्सक्यूज मी सर.
प्रियंका जी को प्रस्तुति करने दीजिए.
सर, एम आई ऑडिबल?
की आवाज सुनाई दे रही है? आपकी प्रस्तुति हो चुकी है, अब प्रियंका जी को ही अपनी प्रस्तुति करने दें.
ओके सर, थैंक यू.
सर, मेरा टॉपिक है स्टेम एजुकेशन को लेकर किस तरह से हम लोग का मतलब कि हम लोग का ट्राइबल इंडिजिनस नॉलेज जो है वो किस तरह से काम कर रही है, किस तरह से ये कर रही है, जिसके लिए हम लोग का जो स्टेम एजुकेशन है एक एक्रोनिम है, किस तरह से प्रोफेशनल प्रैक्टिस इन द एरियाज ऑफ साइंस, टेक्नोलॉजी, इंजीनियरिंग, मैथमेटिक्स एक ऑथेंटिक स्टेम में इसका जो है, स्टेम में हम लोग का जो लोकल इंडिजिनस नॉलेज है, खासकर जो ट्राइबल नॉलेज है, जो झारखंड का जो 32 ट्राइब्स है, हर ट्राइब्स के पास कुछ ना कुछ नॉलेज है जो कि एक साइंटिफिक लिटरेसी की तरफ जाना चाहिए, जो हम लोग का जो ग्लोबल चैलेंजेस है, ग्लोबल प्रॉब्लम है, उसको हम लोग सॉल्व कर सके, जो हम लोग का NEP 2020 में जो हम लोग का दिखाया भी जा रहा है कि किस तरह से हम लोग का जो, जैसे कि हम लोग का जो हम लोग का ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग का, सैनिटेशन का जो ग्लोबल पॉपुलेशन इंक्रीज हो रहा है, उसको हम लोग का जो ट्रेडिशनल नॉलेज सिस्टम है ट्राइबल्स के लेकर हम लोग किस तरह से करिकुलम में इंटीग्रेट करें अपने जो स्कूल करिकुलम में K-12 किंडरगार्टन टू +2 लेवल तक, और उनको हम लोग किस तरीके से पढ़ाएं ताकि जो हम लोग के बच्चे हैं एक साइंटिफिक लिटरेसी डेवलप कर सके, किस तरह से उन लोग एक ग्लोबल सिटीजन बन सके। एंड दीज आर द रिसर्चेस की हम लोग का, अगर जो वेस्टर्न साइंस था पहले वो हम लोग का ट्रेडिशनल जो ओके ओके सर, दिस आर द सम ट्राइबल नॉलेज जो हम लोग का है और उसको हम लोग इंटीग्रेट कर सकते हैं करिकुलम में। जो प्रोविजन है हम लोग का NEP में किस तरह से फॉरेस्ट मैनेजमेंट, एथनोमेडिकल प्रैक्टिसेस में है और उसको हम लोग दिखा सकते हैं। जो कुछ बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस जो टीचर्स हम लोग का है, जो हम लोग का सुमन कुमार है दुमका से है, दे आर प्रैक्टिसेस फॉर द सेल्फ रिलायंट इंडिया बिकॉज वी हैव इंडिजिनस नॉलेज सिस्टम दैट गिव्स सेल्फ रिलायंट टू बिकम। थैंक यू सर। Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Priyanka. Thank you. And now offline start. I would like to call first Pramod Kumar Rai.
Sir, Jai Anand, online. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, sir.
Yes, Jai Anand.
जी ऑनलाइन में मेरा था सर, जय आनंद का ऑनलाइन प्रेजेंटेशन।
Which number? Which sequence number?
Technical section.
Discuss
Yes,
this is technical session 3.
Oh, technical session 2 में सर, sorry.
Okay. You discuss with organizer.
Hello, sir, can I present? Can I present, sir? Sir, this is Jai Anand. Can I present? Hello. 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 Hello, sir.
3 to 6 young people and 5, 3, 3 and 2 and 3 primary. मैं आपको नर्सरी, यूकेजी, एलकेजी, एक्सटेंडेड and 2. लेकिन गवर्नमेंट कैसे करेंगे इसको मेंटेन करना मैंने चैलेंज गवर्नमेंट के पास आज भी प्राइवेट स्ट्रक्चर से जूझ रहा हूँ। आज हम विद्यालय के माध्यम से गवर्नमेंट जो प्रयास कर रही है
प्लीज कंक्लूड करें, अपने पेपर को कंक्लूड करें।
State is a state for education courses, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Science is systematic. Science can be
present without compromising the needs of future generation. if I am talking about STEAM education for sustainable development, education for sustainable development aims to develop knowledge, awareness, and action. For this reason, students understand what the knowledge they have gained in the classroom. STEAM education helps in solving daily life problems, and the same time they contribute to the solution of sustainable development goals by discovering new technology and career opportunities. The world has until 2030 to deliver on the Sustainable Development Goal promise. For this, we must ensure that students prioritize sustainable development in their lifestyle, behaviors, education.
CBSE and IIT Gandhinagar, they developed 30 STEAM education which provides episodes which based on pedagogy and subject content regarding STEAM education. And thank you very much. Thank you. Pranav Varman.
मेरा टॉपिक है स्टीम एजुकेशन विद स्पेशल रेफरेंस इन मैं सभी ने स्टीम डिस्कस किया है और यहाँ पर मैं ड्रॉबैक बोल रहा हूँ। यहाँ पर स्टीम एक थियोरी के टाइप लग रहा है, मतलब बहुत सारा सब डिसिप्लिन एग्जिस्ट है ऑलरेडी, उसको यहाँ पर एक मेकअप करके फेंक दिया जा रहा है, ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट है। और ये मतलब मैं साइटेशन से ये मिला है, लेकिन अभी ये नहीं हो रहा कि मैं पीपीटी नहीं देगा पा रहा। तो ऐसे लग रहा है स्टीम है ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्ट है हम लोग के बीच में, लेकिन उसको हम खिचड़ी बना के एक सुस्वादु एक मतलब खाना तैयार कर रहे हैं, वो वही है। थैंक यू।
Respected chairperson, respected faculties and delegates. I am Sauramato, it's a scholar of school, Maharashtra Central University, under supervision of Mr. Bhunkar of this school. And on behalf of what we are presenting on subsidies for fees in public universities and summer, healthcare governance perspectives of GUI and humanitarian researches. Here I try to integrate economy, polity, and higher education administration.